You start with a lot of motivation. You plan so many things, but at the end, it all falters. You see, every year in January, a lot of talented and self-motivated people make a lot of plans. But at the end, what happens? Nothing gets fulfilled. Everything gets destroyed. Now, you might be thinking, what is the cause of it? It is not laziness, it is not discipline. It is far more predictable and far more fixable than that. I actually spent quite a good amount of time studying students, parents, athletes, and high-end achievers. And do you know what I found out? The people who thrive, they do not rely on motivation. Rather, they rely on structures. So in this video, I'm going to give you a science-backed system by which you can actually make this year the most amazing year for you. So now, just give a few minutes of yours to me and I will show you exactly how you can execute the plan which you have thought of. 4 acts, 20 techniques, all practical, all foundational in building the year you have always dreamt of. I can guarantee that after following this, at the end, you would say that, oh, that was the moment when everything changed for me. So Act 1 is regret review. Let's begin with something really uncomfortable, but trust me, it would work wonders for you. Let's try to think of the biggest regret you had for 2025. Let's start with that. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Do that regret review, not a bundle of things, not so many things at one time. Just pick one. That one thing which would have created a whole lot of difference, where you would have given your 100% but you haven't. Just that one thing in the timer of 10 minutes. Do this with this video, otherwise you will again do passive learning and you won't learn anything. Maybe you didn't start that side project that you always wanted to do. Maybe you drifted away from people to whom you wanted to connect. Or maybe you spent so much time scrolling over your phone rather than reading books or doing something really meaningful and productive. For me, it was quite simple. I didn't protect my reading time. You know, at one point of time, I used to read 2 books per week. But in the last year, I did not read that much. In fact, I read less than half of the total number I used to read. So I let busy become an excuse for my reading. That was one of my biggest regrets last year. Now, take a piece of paper, a physical piece of paper, and write your biggest regret. Do it. Write it on a piece of paper. It might hurt, but that's okay. For the greater cure, you should have some level of pain. That's okay. Now, take a second piece of paper and write down at least 2 lessons which you learned from that regret and a small plan that how you would avoid repeating it in the year 2026. For me, the lesson was really simple. I need to have a strict schedule for my reading time. So what I did was, I scheduled 3 hours of reading time every single day. That is already on my calendar. No dithering, no deviating from it, no debating, just doing. You know, my own research on regret says that the worst way to avoid a regret is to ignore it, and the second worst way is to wallow in it or meander around it. But do you know what is the best way? The best way is to look at the regret straight into its eyes and use it as a tool to get better. So now, take the first page, look at it. Sure, it might hurt, it might feel like you haven't done anything. That's okay. To err is to human and to forgive is to divine. So look at that, have it consolidated in your mind, crumple the paper and throw it away. And after that, take the second page. That's your guide for 2026. You have the lesson which you have learned from that regret and you have a small plan how to follow it. Regret isn't weakness. It is a set of instructions, a guide for you to follow. Use it to make the year 2026 better. Most of us know that what a post-mortem is. But how about a pre-mortem? That's our second idea. Now do a thought experiment with me. You sit on a chair, think that it is the end of 2026. You are imagining that, okay, I'm sitting on a chair patiently, celebrations are going on, it is the 31st December's Eve, and then you finally realize that, hey, whatever I planned did not happen. You said you would take 2 unforgettable trips, but you barely left your zip code. You said you would write that book finally, but no page has been written. Ask yourself, what went wrong? Psychologist Gary Klein calls it pre-mortem. A post-mortem explains that why something died, and a pre-mortem states out the reasons that why something might not work, might die. So before it happens, you can stop it from happening. Now stay with that thought experiment for a moment, stay in the future and try to recognize what went wrong. Maybe you failed because you never put important things on your calendar. Maybe you failed because you relied on motivation instead of structure. Maybe you failed because no one was holding you accountable and you drifted apart. Write down all the imaginary reasons for your failures. Now create roadblocks to actually let those failures not happen. That's how you need to design your 2026. If your future self failed because you did not put time or block time on your calendar for your family days, then just now write down and plan all the 10 family weekends where you can go out with your family. If your future self failed because no one was holding you accountable for your actions, then find out somebody, reach out to people and ask him or her to be your accountability partner. The person who can remind you time to time that, hey, you had set a goal. Did you achieve that? Are you working towards it? You see, I use pre-mortems for all of my projects. They have saved me from blind spots, from wishful thinking, and a lot of pain at times. You can do the same. Jump into the future. Imagine all the failures you can have in 2026, which can block you from your resolutions or goals. Then re-engineer the roadblocks back. Create the roadblocks so that those failures do not happen in reality. The next idea is pick up a theme for 2026. You see, people love New Year resolutions, but we have evidence that resolutions only work if they can be specific and they can be limited to some certain behavioral traits. Random resolutions, random words, random list do not work. So pick a theme for this new year. It's all fine if you have already picked up a few resolutions for this year 2026, but I'm going to challenge you to pick up just one word for this year. Pick up a word for the year 2026 and go all in. Be ruthless in winding your life around that word. Not a paragraph, not even a line, just a word for the kind of person you want to become and the kind of year you want ahead of you. Maybe that word, that one word for you for this year can be simplify, connect, or build, whatever. Just take that word and use it as your compass for the rest of the year. Whenever you feel deviated, distracted, your mind is wandering here and there, bring yourself back to that one particular word. That would help. You know, psychologists call it self-cue or a self-word. Whenever you are working upon something, you are drifted, you are thinking about so many things, boom, that one word and your attention is back again. Your attention snaps just in a moment. What I do is whenever I am working on projects and whenever I'm reading or doing anything productive, there are a lot of ideas bombarding upon my head, right? So instead of getting into the temptation of working on the next idea, my one word for that particular moment is ship. Just ship whatever you are trying to do right now. Finish it first and then jump to the next idea. By the way, a small hack here would be to maintain a journal or a piece of paper whenever ideas are coming. Just note them down. Tell your brain that you would work on this idea after finishing the one at which you are working right now. Now, you know what? Since I love you all a lot, so I have made your life a little bit easier. So here is a list of 50 odd themes or 50 odd ideas. Pick one and make it the theme for 2026. Let that one single word guide your decisions, guide your acts, all in this 2026. And now for the final idea of Act 1. Instead of having a long year stretch, divide the year into 90-day seasons. See, a year has 365 days, 8,760 odd hours. It's too daunting, right? And most of the people lose steam because of this long stretch. So instead, divide the entire year into 4 chapters, each one with its own purpose. Now, when nature runs on seasons, why can't our own lives run on seasons? We can also run our seasons in the span of 90 days. Now, you might be thinking, why 90 days? It's mostly because 90 days is a long enough time for you to work patiently, and also short enough so that you can see the goalpost from the starting point itself. And that creates motivation. When the goal is near, when the deadline is near, when the timeline approaches, that creates motivation so that you can work in a limited time frame, not too tight, not too loose, but exactly optimal. You see, research on quarterly goal setting also shows the same thing. If we have shorter feedback loops, it results into long-lasting efforts with faster course correction. So here's how to use it. Every 90 days, do a mini reset. See what worked and what didn't work. Discard what didn't work. Focus on what worked. And then again, devote your time and energy towards the next 90-day season's priorities. Because short 90-day pushes would beat 1 year-long vague intention every single time. Congratulations, you have built the foundation and clarity for the past, the future, and what matters the most, the present. Now it's time to keep you on track, to build an SOP or a structure that would help you to achieve these targets. That is act number 2. We would talk about act number 2 in episode 2. Why? Because too much of information at once is of no use. Apply the methods, do what I said in act 1, write in the comment section, and then watch episode number 2. Till then, stay thirsty, be great. See you on the other side of the screen. This is Partho Mishra on behalf of ChocoChips, signing off.